All right, ladies and gentlemen, our pick of the week. He's been a pick of the week before. He's been a guest on the podcast. He's a friend. We've played shows together. We got Joe P on the podcast today. Joe, first off,
Heyo.
thank you for coming on. How are you, buddy?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I'm very happy to have you here, dude. So our pick of the week is Middle Class Dream, which is a song that I absolutely fucking love. It's doing everything you're doing's doing great. And the last time we had you on, it was very, very recently after your solo project launched.
Yeah, you're right.
How have things been?
Great, man. I mean, it's been weird because of, like COVID's obviously been happening and just been in this basement just like last time we talked. And it's just been like weird and surreal how in the last, I don't know, 6 months, I guess you could say, like when the band broke up and I was just on my own, I feel like I've done more than I did with the band, and not as a knock to like days with the band. I mean more in the sense of like I changed my whole mindset of how I want to do things, I guess, and in doing that, it just helped me get more music out, or get more music done, I should say, because it takes me fucking forever to get music out. But it helped me just kind of like keep moving forward and not be afraid to do things, because there was something about the band that there was definitely a feeling of I wanted to do it as a crew, like a group, you know what I mean? So now that it's just me, it's like there's no one to tell me. I have a manager, but even that, like,
Shouts
I don't
out
really tell
Pergo,
him
because
anything.
I know who
Yeah, shout out to Pergo.
is.
Yeah. I mean, like, I tell him things, but I don't. Like, a lot of times he's just like, oh shit, you did this? And I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I just kind of, it's been just like no parents are home kind of thing. And the house is a mess and it's awesome. Like that's my metaphor.
You said something in that I was just talking about shortly before we came on with our co-host Abe, to where I was saying it's crazy to think that in the last year, so many people, I've actually brought up Deal Casino as an example on the podcast of like bands that we loved, who we're friends with, who were doing great, and it was just the pandemic kind of set this on a course of where it was like, okay, we're going our separate ways. Like, it's understandable.
Yeah,
it is.
Totally.
But
yeah.
we changed our mindset too. And I think a lot of this has been who can make lemonade out of lemons, and who can adapt and do things. And part of your adaptation and part of our conversation, our overarching conversation on the podcast today, has been about TikTok. And I've been open about my disdain for it previously, and mostly think that was just me, being ignorant to it. But like, to watch what you've done on it, and the reach and the fan base that you've created through there, and just the success and the opportunities you've gotten through it. Talk to me about the idea of like really taking TikTok as your avenue.
Yeah, I mean, that was an example of the good that came from being forced to, be on my own and, be in lockdown and stuff. It's like, there's all these things that were always there. And now that but the issue or the difference now is that other things are removed. There's no touring, there's no shows, there's nothing like that. There's no band. So literally it was like I removed all of these things and nothing else kind of came out of that. It was more just like I was noticing different shit now. I'm like, oh, this stupid app that I'm like very against, in the sense of like, initially I was like, I hate everything that kind of thing stands for. It's like,
same.
It just feels like a funnel that's going to force you to do something and sacrifice your art, especially with music. And it's like, this doesn't make sense to make a 10-second video. And I've worked on the song for a month, it's just like, how does that work? How does that translate? And I just started kind of my whole new motto with when I started doing my own thing was just like, don't think so hard about things, just do things that you feel like. And so I made some videos of just like me playing in my kitchen and just strumming my guitar in my house, whatever. And it caught on in a way that people were like, oh, I love this. This is great. Or this song is so cool, whatever. Release on Spotify, all that shit. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I looked at it and I was like, I want to hate this. I want to hate TikTok. Let me look at it, why I should hate it. So I looked at it and I was like, wait, I made that video on my own. I made it on my terms. I did it the way I would do it. And it's my song and my lyrics and everything. I edited the video down to every bit of it. I did, just like how you make a song or play a show. You decide what your live show is like all of that. And I realized in that moment that I was like, oh, it's fine. It's about how you carry yourself. You could look at anything in a negative way if how you do it is negative, or how you do it is kind of like sell out or whatever, So I felt like I felt like I could watch back what I did and go, oh, I'm just as proud of that as I am how I went about recording a song or playing a live show or giving an interview, whatever it is, So I looked at it like I was the one making it this like demon of something.
I think me and you are about the same age, because I know the bands have kind of run concentrically,
Yeah.
and we were born in the early '90s, correct? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, so part of my thing was I know who I am, I know what I do, and I know how I want to present things. And a big thing for me
Yeah.
was like, all right, TikTok, like, let the kids have their thing. Like, that's cool, man. Like, that's cool. Like,
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
not here to step on toes, and I'm sure as fuck not trying to
Yeah.
be Steve Buscemi with the skateboard. Like, what's up, fellow youths? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Yes.
we had a big fight in the studio amongst the band where they were like, do it. And I was like, you can fuck off. I am not doing that shit. And I
Right.
came home and I talked to my wife about it. My wife works in, part of her job is influencer marketing.
Okay.
And she looked at me, and she'd usually, talk me through things. And she was like, Colin, if you don't do it, you're stupid. She was like,
Yeah.
not only that, like, because I was like, Dana, like, what are you talking about? And she was like, it's aged up considerably during the pandemic. For one,
Yeah.
the
Totally.
usership has gone fucking through the roof. And I thought about it, and like I was like clenched fist for a minute, where I was like, damn it, like now everybody's against me. And I was like, you know what, let me just see what happens here. And I would say like my first like couple days on the app, I was thrown for a fucking loop, because I felt like a lot of shit that was getting pushed through my feed because I didn't have followers or following people was like, hey, you with no followers, here's how you can grow your, like, I was like, this whole
Yeah.
algorithmic shit is wild to me. And now that I've used it a
Right.
little bit, I would say it's probably my least favorite social media app right now, but like I
Sure.
understand the merits completely. Like I understand
Yes.
from like to watch what you do and the way that you utilize it, your content for some reason just really resonates on that platform. And I want to give you credit for that. I think it's amazing.
Thanks.
No
It's
problem.
it's crazy because it's just like it is right. There's all these algorithmic things that you can get into, and you can get into, what time should you post? And
Mhm.
it's like like I said, I just have done so much shit of trying and trying to make a music video and putting a lot of effort into going away to record a record, all this shit. And I'm just so done with all that. Like
Me
I'm
too,
just so
man.
into just the way I write. The best shit I can write is when I'm not thinking, and I
Yep.
just in 10 minutes throw up a bunch of stuff that I'm like, this is pretty good. And when I start analyzing it and thinking about it, I ruin it. So I think I'm doing that with everything. And I just said, okay, I'm doing that across the board. And like with TikTok, it's like I'll obviously like think about what I'm posting just the way I
Mhm.
would think about anything, but it isn't so crazy. Like I literally sometimes I'm just like today I was just like, I don't really feel like posting anything. So I posted like an old video that I've already posted. But that's what's crazy about the app, dude, is like I posted shit, it didn't get any views, and I posted the same video like a couple hours later and it worked, and I deleted the first one I posted and
So
it went
weird.
crazy. And I'm like, dude, it's insane, but like, I think it's crazy to me that I could sit in my basement and go, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to go outside in the snow, play a song that I've recorded for 10 seconds, and go back inside and work on the shit I was working on. So I do it on my phone, make a stupid video, edit it, which means just putting lyrics on it. Like
Yeah,
it's the
that's
easiest
all.
thing. It takes 20 minutes. It's nothing. And then upload it. Cool. Bunch of people start catching on to it, whatever. And it's like, dude, I've gotten all these followers from a 10-second video. Took me probably 30 minutes of my life that I would ever have gotten from going on tour for 4 years.
What
You know what I mean? That's
I really
crazy.
find amazing about you, and there's certain songwriters that we've had this conversation previously, but like there's certain songwriters that I envy the way that they write songs, and not like I disregard how I do it, because I love the way that I do it.
Yeah.
But I think when you're a songwriter, you look at other songwriters and you're like, fuck, I wish I wrote that song.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
told you that about Baby Teeth. I love that fucking song. Like that,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
always want to write that song. But I
Right.
digress when I say you do a great job of writing shit, but finding the right things to put online, because you, I don't know how to put this. Like, you're very descriptive in the way you do things, but you're also very
Mhm.
nonchalant in the way you do things, and it's a quality that I don't possess. But let's talk about "It's Fighting in the Car" is the new song that's coming out, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's the next one. Yeah.
First off, fuck you, because that's genius. I've been humming for weeks, and that once again comes from a clip. But when you see people saying like, "Yo, you need to drop this now," or Zane Lowe
Yeah.
from fucking Apple
Yeah.
Music, like, "Wow, this is fucking
Crazy.
dope." Where's your head at right now? Because there's a fervency to want to get. There's a manager that like we worked with in the past who once said to me, this was like 5 years ago, was like, who gives a fuck if Foxtrot and the Get Down puts an album out right now? How does it feel right
Right.
now to know that like people are like, holy shit, I want to hear that new Joe P?
Right. I mean, dude, I don't know. It's weird because I've never really had that before. Like, I would say
Yeah.
it's always, Deal Casino had a following for sure,
Yeah.
but it was never big enough that it felt like, oh fuck, there's a shitload of people waiting. And now with TikTok, it feels like, oh cool, there's like a decent amount that I could like see visibly being like, come on,
Yeah.
So that's really cool. But it's I'm happy about how I handled it because it's like I had the chance to let it fuck me up. And like
Mm.
when I've never uploaded anything in my life and within a day seen thousands of comments on it. You know what I
It's
mean? Like that's
insane.
weird and not natural. Like I don't like it. I think it's bad for your brain,
Oh, I
100%.
totally
Um,
agree,
Not
150%.
good. Really, really bad. Like I believe I wish there was no such thing as comment sections in all social media.
Yo, you just missed our conversation last week. We were talking about this is the first time ever because we started putting clips from the podcast with Dave and the Barstool things involved now, and
Yeah.
people are commenting on YouTube videos, and I'm getting all these alerts that are like people. The thing is, though, I've always had people say good things, right? I've never
Yeah.
had trolls who I'm
Right.
entering this Barstool world where there's trolls. And
Right.
I keep getting these comments sent to my phone where it's like, yo, you fucking suck at this. Or it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
yo, why the fuck do you keep talking over Chris Shiflett from the Foo Fighters? And I'm like, I don't know. It was a conversation. Like, but I find it kind of funny. Like, I don't get offended.
For
Like,
sure.
I think
No,
musicians have a little bit tougher skin where I'm like, I don't know. It's
sure.
fucking, it's what it is.
No,
But
but it's the same shit. It's like, and I do the same thing. Where if someone were to say something shitty, I would I would go, ha ha ha, fuck you. No, you don't even know me. I don't know you. Like whatever. But no matter what, as a human being,
oh,
I'm
you
also
think about it.
proud to say that it
Oh,
hits you right in the
yeah.
soul.
Oh, yeah.
So like I think it's just it comes with it. You know what I mean? Like when someone does like, dude, I've had some like girl was on commenting on the fighting the car shit and said like, oh, it was just this thing I read. It said like, oh, that's cool, like stealing riffs from other artists, like that's cool,
Oh,
totally fine. And
that
I
would
was like,
rip me
wait,
up.
I was like, what are you talking about? And I just whenever people write bad shit, I have this funny like defense mechanism that I kind of like, where like what you're saying, I make it funny, but I just like go overboard with it. So I this girl said this, and I just went off on this whole thing of like, um, I just said like I wrote this song in Sparta, New Jersey, at Joe C's house while Chris was on the drums, and I was playing a Hofner bass. Like I just did like a stupid description,
Yeah.
and then she wrote like, yeah, whatever, like that's cool. Like it's not like I have the video saved or anything of the person who really wrote this. Like I'm ready to
Oh,
drop it whenever, and all this shit.
oh,
But then I realized in that moment that it was kind of nice because I realized in that moment it was physically impossible for her to have a video of anyone else playing that riff
yeah.
before me. So in that moment, I was like, oh, cool. Like, and it was an extreme where it's like, dude, people are willing to go this far just to do it.
Right.
So the little stuff now I see as like, oh, cool. Like they're really just fucking around and don't actually care.
It's to
It's
me
really
like
crazy.
I have this thing in my own brain where I think when you make things,
Mm,
you're never the one to hop in a comment section. Like I would
right.
never ever in my lifetime ever go onto somebody's YouTube video and be like, fuck you, you suck. Like I know
Can't
what
believe
it's
it.
like
Yeah.
to make things. And in my
Yeah.
mind, the way I rationalize it is like these are people who don't make things or they just have
Totally.
a different mindset. And it is what like I've had enough experience in my, and maybe it's like the Northeast Philly Catholic in me where I'm just like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, fuck you. Like,
Mhm.
what it is.
Oh
Like,
yeah, it's definitely good that we're from like East Coast shit. Like
yo,
that helps.
100%. Like,
Definitely.
I'm not going to act like it doesn't like bug me a little bit, but like at the end of the
Sure,
day,
dude. I
like
mean,
I can always, I, you know, I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful life. I'm happy. Like
right.
at the end of the day, it's all gravy, yo. It's not real.
It's
It's
not
intangible.
real, dude. I
But
mean, it's so funny because it's like the the comment section thing is so funny because it's I would say 10 times out of 10, it's always more positive than negative, right?
always.
But that is funny because that doesn't mean anything to me at all
Mm,
anymore either. It's like there's not when I saw someone say that bad shit and I confirmed that, oh, that can't be true. That's just fake. That person is just that crazy to do that.
yeah.
I saw all the positive shit the same way where I was like, well, that's what like this whole thing someone can write, sure, I love this is amazing, and
Yeah.
I'm of course that means something, I get it, but like that thousands of comments thing, your brain taking it and going, wow, thousands of people just said, great job, you're fucking awesome. That isn't healthy for you to take in and believe too much. Like,
100%.
I think it's healthy in a way of like, yeah, let it get you going the way like a fucking coach gets a team going. Like, we're
Mm.
gonna win, but don't. It doesn't mean that you have to still go win the game. The coach can't actually help you do that. You know, so
The number one piece of advice I can give to any younger artists or people in general, this isn't just an art thing, this is a social media user thing. Remember this. This stupid thing in my hand is not real.
it's
Like
really
at the
not
end of the day, you see so much division in conversation online that I
because
always
it's
think about
easy.
I always think about this. Could you imagine if you like looked on a political post per se, right? And the way that people talk to each other, if you did that in real life, there would be it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't. And I think about this all the time in that like there's people you don't agree with, right? But if you were to
Yeah,
meet them in person, 90% of the time you'd have a civil conversation. This
totally.
thing, it doesn't work like that because there's no repercussions. You don't have to worry about getting punched in the face through the internet. It doesn't happen. Like it's not how it works.
Dude,
But
the proof in that is if someone commented on my shit, the most awful things you could ever imagine. If they said shit about my family, everything, they could go
yeah,
as hard as they wanted to. If I saw them in person the next day or the next week, whatever, all of that would disappear,
yep.
and it might translate to awkwardness, but it would not even get close to what it was online. Like, I would see that person and I would just be like, oh, like I have nothing against you because I'm meeting you for the first time for real here. No matter what you said, it doesn't even matter because I know that it's not real until we're in front of each other, no matter what, you know?
I just always because me and you have had the opportunity to grow up in a situation where we are the guinea pig generation as to where like we
Yeah.
grew up going out and playing fucking freedom and fucking tag and shit, and then when we were in like middle school, high school, we got these things, and then it's like
Mhm.
we've had the experience on both sides. I
Yeah.
worry about like my nieces and stuff like that who have
Yeah,
grown
for
up
sure.
with iPhones and then like they don't know how to process these kind of things, and
Dude, it's
that was my thing with TikTok in a way that like I was like I as a grown man, as a 29-year-old man, I was on my phone and I was like I feel weird about this. Like they're sending me all these messages where it's like oh you're not good enough. Like you don't have enough followers yet. Here's how you get more followers. And I put it down and I texted the group of the band. I was like, dude, this is going to fuck kids up. Like
so bad, dude. It's so bad.
but then there's this other part that you go on there and this is all social media in a way. The creativity that you see
Yeah,
is unfucking believable. Like it
it
really
is, man. It's
like
amazing, and it's also there's something really, really bad and really, really good about it at all times. It's like
agreed.
there is something so good about being to turn on my phone right now and see things from all over the world. I could watch a comedy skit, someone get hit by a car, someone help a homeless person,
Yep.
attractive person doing something, and in fucking 2 seconds I could see all those things.
Yep.
And it's like that's bad in the sense of like I don't truly think your brain is meant to be able to do that shit
No.
at all. Like there's no way. Like the thing is like maybe one day our brains will be because right, we've been doing this shit for quite a bit now, but
Yep.
we actually haven't been doing it for quite a bit. Like it hasn't been true like for how evolution works, we are way
Oh
ahead
my
of
god,
ourselves. Like the
bro,
technology is way ahead.
you got to think about the fact that in college, I'm in my 20s, and in college, I had a fucking BlackBerry. Like
Yeah, it's
in
crazy.
that amount of time, from
Yeah.
like 2015 to 2021, look where we are. Like this is when you say that shit, I'm like
Yeah.
100 years ago,
Yeah.
there weren't readily like available cars.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if you look at history, it's really weird because the change from decade to decade is so obviously big
Yeah.
that you could that they even named it things like the Industrial Revolution and things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's these giant milestones that were happening within 10, 20 years of each other. And now you're there hasn't been it's like, you know, my car is a pretty similar to the first car ever built. Like it's not that far away to the point where you could say like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Sure, obviously it's light years ahead of it in a lot of ways, but it really isn't. So it's like, but from having no car to invention of a car is
Yo.
gigantic, you know. But like now it's like you have the iPhone 10 to the iPhone 11, and then the iPhone 11 to the iPhone 12, to the point where we actually joke about how nothing changes. They actually made it shittier or whatever,
Yeah,
like we don't,
yeah.
there aren't these big things anymore. Like we focus on stupid shit like virtual reality where we're like,
Mm.
oh, that'll be crazy. It's like, yeah, like we're talking about games right now. We're not talking about inventing a car that'll help us travel, you know what I mean? And airplanes have been the same forever. Like there, so we've hit this wall, and it's now manifested itself into something like TikTok, where you open your phone and you physically just see so much shit in front of you, and you're taking in so much information at all time. And that's the thing. It's the ultimate, I feel like, era, if there is a name for it. It's like this ultimate era of um, processing information and knowing everything as quickly as humanly, but like everyone knows something at the same time on this planet within seconds of each other.
The reason I don't think that's healthy, and I think it's why you see so many people that struggle with mental health at such a large level today.
Yeah.
And part of it is that there's so much that we know that we didn't used to know. Like, and it's also a reason why I don't think people can really have idols anymore, because you know everything about everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Totally.
it's like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, it's like, it's just
Right.
this.
Like David Bowie and Prince. Like, what would they do on TikTok?
That's what I'm saying. And it's
Yeah.
like if, like, you know, if so and so lived at this point of time, like what would they have had to go through just because of the way they lived their life, and like everybody knew about it. Like, I'm a big proponent of, like, just in general, like I like a little bit of mystery to life. Like I don't
Of
need, like,
course.
I like to rip myself away from this thing. It's very
Of
difficult,
course.
especially in what we do, because you
Right.
constantly have to
Right.
keep updating this thing. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very impressed by the way that you've navigated it and the way that you've done it.
Thanks.
And but your music's excellent as well, by the way. Like it's
Thank you.
I've always been very forthright in saying that, like, I am a genuine fan. Like there's some people we'll talk to who I'm like, I know this is good for the podcast, but I don't really know their shit that well.
Yeah.
As far as bands that I've played shows with,
Yeah.
you and what you've done with Deal Casino and your solo shit, like I actually like
Mm.
am a fan. So I just want to say
Cool.
that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But you know, we're gonna play Middle Class Dream, but if you want to tease the new song, you feel free to.
Oh
When's
yeah.
it coming
Sure.
out?
I don't know, man. Like it's in the like whatever Spotify and streaming shit for March 12th, but that's wrong because um like we did that, and then there was this whole thing where my manager reached out to the Zane Lowe people after the whole Zane
Mm,
Lowe shit happened, and he was like, dude, they want to like premiere it on their show. Which, whatever, I probably shouldn't say it because who knows, but I think it's, it's like that was supposed to be a thing. And so that was like, oh, that's crazy, we obviously should do that. And then the dude hit us back and was like, yeah, March 12th is no good though, like it has to be a week after that or something like that. So I posted a TikTok 2 minutes like before he emailed Pergo.
oh,
So I posted a thing that was like, March 12th, it's coming out. And all these people are like, fuck yeah. And then Pergo says, by the way, don't tell anyone March 12th because it's going to change. I was like, oh, motherfucker. And I was like, the video started doing well-ish. And I was like, fuck it. Who cares? Like,
you should just put another one up that just says LOL JK. Like
I,
it.
I, I put a comment, like, hopefully, like, I don't know how it works on TikTok with comments at the top from the creator, but like, I put like, update, like, that's not fucking true. Like, something just
Someone
happened and
took
it
my
might be
phone.
later. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's just a joke. And yeah, so just there's so much shit up in the air, and it's like, people are like, oh fuck, but that's the other thing, is like, I've also learned when people go, put the song out, like, or what's taking so long, whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's like, it's gonna make you want to fucking panic. Like, it made me, like, I felt that the first time anything ever happened like that, and I was like, oh fuck, like, I gotta get this done. Pergo, let's get on Spotify. People are gonna lose attention. And it's like, dude, that makes no sense
No.
to give people that in a way that it's like, the reason they liked what you were doing is because you did it your way. That's why they initially got on board. And now, for you to flip it and do whatever they're telling you to do,
Yep.
I mean, they don't. It's like, you can't put anything on the person who like listens to music. Like, you can't put on them like, well, you rushed me to put it out, so da, da, da.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
you got to just do your thing, and it's like, so many people are always saying like, put it out already, da, da, da. Like, some people have like this weird thing where it's like, it's the as opposite of the mystery thing as possible, where people are
Yes.
like, come on, put it out already. It's like, yo, you wouldn't fucking talk to whoever like that.
You're not gonna go
Because
to
you
Dave
couldn't.
Grohl and be like, "Put it out, pussy!" Like, do it now.
Well, right, because it's funny, like you can't, because like you can't get in contact with him,
Right.
right? Because he's so big that it's not like you comment on his Twitter or
This is
like
the double-edged sword of the
Instagram.
entire situation.
Yes, exactly. And it's like now it's like I literally can respond to comments and people know I'm there, and then they say, "Hey, like you should change that chord to an E minor," and I'm like, "Yo, get the
Yo,
fuck!"
come
I
on.
hate that.
Yeah,
People love doing that
100%.
shit though. People love doing that
I
shit, and
know.
it just makes me want to be like, dude, I don't even want you to follow me or like be a part of this whole thing because
Yeah,
like
man.
that's the weird. Well, I don't care anymore. Like you've made it so weird, and like I
There
hate that. I
there is
hate
an
that.
odd aspect of like the quick response between fan and creator. There is this odd
Yeah.
sense of control that some people have over what you do, or like over what you
Yep.
should do, or how you should speak, and it's weird. Like, and I never. Those are the things that give me anxiety as someone who makes things. It's like I don't know if I'm a people pleaser, but I definitely don't like to
No.
disappoint. You know what I mean?
That
So
dude. I mean, when you make stuff, music, podcast, whatever it is, no matter what, there's an element of it that you want people to like it. That's why you upload it. That's what
yep,
that means. You know, like you
fact,
put it out into the
fact.
world in a way that's like, I want you to see this, or else you would just make it for yourself and go eat your food and go to sleep. But like, so as soon as you do that, you're trying to please someone in some way.
Yeah,
The goal of being an artist is someone who does that and maintains as much of themselves as possible, because
yes,
you will lose it. You are going to lose, and you're going to shed some of yourself in order to do that thing
yep.
and sacrifice a little bit, but it's who sacrifices the least, I think, is the most artistic. That's kind of what it means to me anyway.
It's weird that I've gotten to a point where I put more thought and care into, maybe it's because it's a newer field for me. Like when we release music, I'm balls out confident about what we're doing. I never think
Yeah.
twice. I'm like, because I know how to do that. I'm really
Yeah.
good at that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in this situation where I'm less than a year into doing this and we're already working with bigger
Crazy.
people and like all this shit, when I put a podcast out, I think about it. Like, I'm like, oh man, I wonder how this is doing. I wonder if people like me.
Yeah. Because
I
you give
don't.
a shit.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't give a shit about music. It's more that that's what I was put on earth to do. I know how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but when it
Right.
comes to the podcast thing, it's like I'm an outsider looking in, and I'm just like, okay, this is just a part of what I do. The music shit.
Right.
Plus, I got 6 other idiots that I can share the load with for the music.
Yeah. Of course.
This thing
Totally.
is different. But Joe,
Yep.
this is always a pleasure talking to you. We're gonna have you back on again soon. Obviously, you're a recurring member of this whole family, but everybody go stream Middle Class Dream, stream Leave, stream everything Joe's got going on, and then get ready for the new tune. Joe, anything else you want to say?
No, thanks for having me. This was sweet. Let's do it again.
Anytime, brother.